I just kind of want you to start with just sharing a little bit about who you are. I honestly, I remembered that I didn't send you any questions when I hopped on here, and I was like, we're just gonna wing it. It's gonna be fine. So, yeah, just kind of share your story, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, I hope y'all can hear me. It's actually my first baby's second birthday today, and we're having like the ending of his birthday party. So we're at out at my grandparents, and it's out in like the boonies. So hopefully the Wi-Fi is stable enough. But hi, I'm Hannah. I'm a triple diamond. I actually just went triple diamond in January. And it's so surreal to even say that, but I started about 3.5 years ago. I was in college and working 3 jobs. Me and my husband were newly married. He was working overtime, manual labor, all the things, and I just needed gas money. For school, because we live about an hour from the DFW Metroplex out in the boonies. And so it's an hour one way and an hour back. And so it was a lot of gas 5 days a week. And then I found out I was going to be doing an internship about 3 hours from my house. 3 hours there, 3 hours back, for 6 months. And so I really just needed gas money, maybe some grocery money, just something to take some stress off, because there was just no extra ever. And so that's what I did. I actually watched a coworker of mine talk about this business for 9 months. I was one of those people who like ignored, thought about unfollowing, thought about blocking. She asked me several times. I said no or ignored her. Never thought I would be this person. I'm from a really, really little town, like small Texas town. And things like this just aren't like accepted or normal or anything like that. And so I'm like just a small town girl with, does this big social media business now. But that's kind of like why I got started. I didn't do anything for about a month after I joined, and then just finally decided that enough was enough. And I was tired of living the way that I was living, filling up my gas tank with spare change, and, always having to put groceries back if I was over my budget. So that's kind of why I began. Went Ruby, earned the $5,000 Emerald bonus, then went Diamond. Diamond was incredible money. But that's kind of where my story gets really interesting, is I sat at Diamond for 2 years, and I don't mean sitting at Diamond rank. I mean, I went Diamond and then completely lost it, and then went Diamond again and completely lost it. And I don't want y'all to think that's like to scare you about Diamond. That was literally just, that was a Hannah problem. That was me, being lazy and going Diamond, and then trying to chill out for about 3 or 4 weeks. And then 3 or 4 weeks turned into 3 months. And then I had lost basically my business. Did that off and on, got pregnant, graduated college. I was making enough to where I could stay home with this. My husband was actually working out of town in the oil field. And then he actually came home when our first was born. And his name is Case. And that's, I mean, just kind of dabbled in it. And then December of 2019, I just hit a really low point in my business. And I was just really like questioning if I knew I could be successful. I knew the company was where it was at. I just like didn't know, like, have you ever thought like, oh, I can do this, but like, I don't know if I can do this? That's kind of like where I was at with this. And, I just didn't have peace with walking away. I couldn't walk away. God just kept me here for whatever reason. And now I know why the reason is, but, then 2020 happened, went to conference, came back, found out I was unexpectedly pregnant. My first was not even 1 yet. He was 10 months old. I thought I was about 8 weeks pregnant. Definitely not the case. I was 14, almost 15 weeks pregnant. So my due date went from the beginning of December to like the end of September. Found out we were pregnant. I was like, okay. Then my husband lost his job in the oil field because of 2020. And I was like, okay, God, like, what are you doing, dude? And then a few weeks after that, we found out we were having twins. So it was not only an unexpected pregnancy, but it was twins. And my due date went from the beginning of December to the end of September. So we lost a good several months. And so this was like March. And so I was like, oh, September is like now. Okay. So I just made a decision. I was getting paid as like a Ruby or Diamond. I'm not sure if y'all are like leaders or if this is like the general team Zoom, but I was getting paid like an executive Ruby. I was sitting about 1,800 volume. I had no one on my team working. I've always been a mass enroller, but I could never teach anybody how to enroll. So that's like kind of why I stayed where I was at. But I just decided that I was going to do this. I went double 4 months later. I went double in June with very high double volume. So, my volume, or not very high double volume, but more than 15. So I went from 1,800 group volume in March to about 18,000 at the end of June. So it was massive, massive growth. The twins were born. It was great. I had a perfect pregnancy, but they were born actually critically ill. And we almost lost one of them. He was born with a super rare lung disease. We don't know where it happened, how, why, nothing like that. And he was in the NICU and on the highest level of life support he could possibly be on. We had to have really hard, tough conversations about like, there is no more treatment options. Like if these don't work, like we literally like have nothing else. And so it was a super important time for the business by itself, because like me and my husband were both able to be there, because I was a well-paid double diamond and it was paying all of our bills at this point. Like I said, my husband had lost his job, so he didn't have a job. He was strictly just with us. um, and he was just able to be there. We were both able to be there. We weren't having to worry about like clocking into jobs or how are we going to pay our mortgage or oh my gosh, like bills are due. Like we just were able to be there and be present. And the amazing thing is I was still able, like once things kind of settled down, and we realized like, okay, things may actually be okay. Like I was actually able to work my business for 5-6 weeks while we were in the hospital, which is, you can't do that with anything else. And not only that, but my business grew while we were in the hospital. So got pay raises while I was going through the worst time in my entire life. And I say all that, my boys are completely 100% healed. The doctors have no medical explanation for it. It is literally just one of the God miracles of like one day he's like barely living and the next day he is getting better and like he's just healed. So we've been home since October. They are so much fun. Everyone should have twins. They are absolutely great. Don't be scared of them. They are so much fun. But I have 3 kids under the age of 2. Well, I did until today. Case turned 2 today. And then had a really great fall, and into January we went triple. So that's kind of my story. So
I love that so much. Oh my God, I literally just had chills that whole time. It was like, it was going good. And it was like, oh crap. Okay. So I'm so glad that they're okay now. They are literally, you guys follow her on Instagram. She has the absolute cutest babies. Like I am obsessed. I was just, this is so lame, but I went on her Instagram the other night and I was just creeping and I was like, these babies are so cute. Like they're adorable. But, okay, so I do have one question, and if it's like hard to talk about, we can skip it. But like, how did you go through that with the twins? Like with everything? I mean, like that's hard. Like I cannot even imagine those feelings. So I mean, just like I stub my toes sometimes, and I'm like, I'm done for the day. Like what the heck? And so like, just like, how did you go through that and just do all of that together?
well, number one, and I don't know like how spiritual a lot of y'all are, but like, I think sometimes when you are in those circumstances, God just gives you grace to go through them. Because like I was definitely in shock for a long time, or not a long time, but I don't remember a lot of things that had happened at the beginning. I was just in complete and utter shock. So with that, after things had kind of settled down and we kind of hit the okay, like think they're gonna be okay, like things are getting better, is when I decided, like I knew the business is what was allowing us here. I mean, thank God for it. And so it really just put that perspective in me of you just don't like, and this is not like a scare tactic, but you just don't know what's around your next corner. And I'm just so thankful that, I decided to work so hard in the spring, and early summer, that carried me into the fall, because like God will take care of you and God knows this, that he knows what's going to happen before that. And so as long as you do the work, he's going to provide. And like I said, while we were in the hospital, my business, not only maintained, it grew, even when I was going through something so horrendous, that I would never wish on anybody. Like I was still able to maintain my business. And how I did that was, guys, it's just a priority. Like, yeah, family is number one. Like being a mom and being a wife and having my family is number one, but this business is number two. This business allows us to have that family time and that, that flexibility. And so it's a choice. There's things that happen in this life that we can't control, but at the end of the day, like we can control, oh no, you're okay. We can control like what, how we react to that. And so that's just kind of what kept me going. So like, specifically like while we were in the hospital, I just decided okay, the boys are asleep, or, doctors aren't coming to visit, like I'm going to get some messages out, or I'm going to post, or, I'm going to build my business behind the scenes, because I didn't, and I struggled with this. I didn't want people to think, oh my God, she's like posting about these skinny wraps and her boys are like critically ill in the hospital. Like, how serious can it be? So I was doing like a lot of behind the scenes. I was messaging, I was making sure I got my host to post up, because guys, that's the beautiful thing about host to post, is it works your business for you. So I literally would get up in the morning before we would go to the hospital, or right when we got to the hospital before the doctors made their rounds, and I just decided, okay, I'm going to message and get my 10 host to post up, and then I'm going to be off my phone until this evening, and I'm going to spend the day with the boys. And that's exactly what I did. So I got my 10 host to post up early in the morning, and when I came back that evening, I had tons of business to get back to. And so relatively, it wasn't all that much work, because like, host to post is doing your work for you. Like, I don't know how else to say it. They're literally, people are advertising for you. And, people who comment on those host to posts obviously are interested. So it's just my job to seal the deal. And so that was the main tactics. I was just very active on my stories. I was active on my feed with updates, not necessarily business, but I was super active on my stories. Like, people saw me in the hospital making videos of me making my coffee and just being like, guys, I am so tired. Like, NICU beds are terrible. Like, we're sleeping on the couch, but like, I'm just so glad I have my coffee. And so I actually got, tons of, people who go through similar things, or people are like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. Like, they just relate to you in a different way when you share your life. So it was just a decision. I mean, I wish I had some extravagant answer. But it was a decision that I knew that, I wanted to continue to be home with my boys once they got home from the NICU, and we were able to be there because of the business. So I have to continue to work my business. And so that's exactly what I did. So it's just a decision. It's a priority. So
No, I love that. We've had Zooms before where we've talked about like going through hard times and things like that. And like, one, I cannot imagine going through that, but I just love how strong your mindset is, because I mean, like, I could never think about putting myself in that situation, but like, I hope if I ever were, that that's how I would react to it, because I mean, that's the 100% truth. I mean, this is totally different, but whenever we were losing my grandpa, January of 2019, I think. Yeah, it was January of 2019. Like, we found out he had cancer in December, and he ended up passing away mid-January. And like, yes, it was hard. Like, do not get me wrong, but I was able to like be there with him and be there with my family because of this business. And then from that, a month or 2.5 months later, our team went triple diamond. And I mean, kind of the same thing as Hannah, like, she continued pushing through those hard times. And like, yes, it's hard. Like, we're not trying to disqualify that at all, but I just love that so, so much. That was I mean, I think that was a good answer, especially with host to post, because I love those so much too. So the next question I had was, has your husband always supported you with this? And then I kind of have two different directions to go depending on your answer.
so I understand this is a very rare answer. But yes, my husband is actually the one who talked me into doing this. And I know 95% of husbands are not that way. So please don't take that of like, oh my gosh, my husband's not supportive, I can't do this. Because at the same time, he has always been 110% supportive of me in this business. But at the same time, we have had like butting heads with it, because early on in my business, I was so obsessed. Like, I was just like this all the time, like right on my phone. And he was like, Hannah, like, why are you working so hard for this freedom if you literally cannot get off your phone? Like, I miss you. Like, I want to have time with you. And so we've like butted heads, or had our, I don't want to say issues, because it wasn't necessarily an issue, but we had those conversations that were like, he's like, I just, want you to be present. And so that was something that we have like struggled with, and we have had to work through. As far as being generally supportive of the whole thing, yes, he has been supportive. He was, after I was watching my upline for so long, she was like, why don't you just do it? Like, just do it and give it a chance. Like, he's always been my biggest cheerleader. But with that being said, I've really had to learn the balance of, I'm a wife first. I'm not a business owner first. I'm a wife first, and then I'm a mom, and then I am a triple diamond with It Works. So that's the order that I work my life in. Now, are there times where business has to be higher priority because of promotions or hitting goals? Absolutely. The month we went triple, my husband did have to pull a little bit more weight around the house and with the kids because I was working so hard. But with that being said, as a general month to month basis, like, yes, like, I mean, my job is a wife and a mom first. And, I do the business, after those things or those needs are met. Um, if that answers that.
No, for sure. I love that answer because I mean, I don't have a husband, I don't have kids, but I have a boyfriend, I have a dog and a cat. So, the same but different by like a lot, but it's fine. It's still kind of the same ish, but like with Sean, that was one of the first things that we talked about, especially with like us moving in together. I was like, okay, if you need me to get off my phone, like you're gonna have to say something because kind of the same as you, I love just like this for hours. I love this business. Like I mean, I know why I love this business, but I love this business. And I just love what it's able to do. And so like sometimes like the way that our offices used to be set up, he could just like say like, hey, and I could like peek my head around the corner and he'd be like, hey, like come out here. And now we actually have our office in the same rooms, like his desk is on this side and mine is on this side. So like for us spending time together is me on Zoom working my business right here. He is literally 3 feet from me, and we have the TV on in here just watching like Wipeout or something, whatever. And so it's one of those things where like you just have to create that boundary with that person. And I've struggled with that so hard just with like previous things because like it always was like work, 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 which isn't always a bad thing, isn't always a good thing. Like there's definitely like a balance and like a blend between the two. But I love that you said that though, because I know sometimes like husbands like don't always have, or say spouses, significant others, etc., they don't always have like the best view towards the business, and I feel like it is because of that. So what would you say to someone that is going through that with like an unsupportive spouse, maybe just unsupportive family like in general, but what would you say for like to that person?
So I think it's super important that, I mean, depending on what your relationship looks like, if you have that conversation, like, what's the, like, what is your problem, like where does the problem break down here, like what do you need from me, I guess is what I'm saying. Because like Brock, for instance, he just needed time with me, he needed uninterrupted time with me, and that was the issue. He doesn't care necessarily that I'm doing the business, he wanted to have that time where we could like watch a movie or you know do go to dinner or whatever it was, pre-kids obviously, that we were just like present together, without me being on my phone. And it's relatively the same thing when you have kids too, because like I don't always want my kids to see me glued to my phone. Like if I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom, like and doing all the things, I want them to know that I'm present, but I also want them to know that I work really dang hard, and like that's why we have the things that we have. So there is that balance, for sure. But something that I have really, I've not mastered it by any means, but I definitely think that I've gotten better at it, because I do have that mindset of like wife, mom, business owner. But I really try and work my business in spurts of time. Okay. So it's not like dilly dallying around. Like, my biggest problem as a mom and someone who is like so chaotically busy is when I finally have 20 minutes to sit down and work, I'm like, what do I do? Do I post? Do I message? Do I do stories? Do I do this? Do I do that? And so by the time I figure out what I'm doing, the kids are awake or the increment of time is over. I don't know if anyone else has felt that way. I'm sure moms can relate, but it's like, oh my gosh. And so I have a new like system that we have been kind of working with. And it's basically like, I know it's stemming from Jade's Enroll-a-thon. Okay. I don't know if any of y'all have seen it. I highly suggest, I think y'all are in Jade's downline. Yes. And so I highly suggest watching the YouTube video, but it's basically they go through the Enroll-a-thon, and do all these tasks. So what I did, and I cannot take credit for this, actually, one of my leaders came up with this. She watched the Enroll-a-thon because she was struggling with the same thing. And she created a board with all the Enroll-a-thon tasks. Okay. So like message, all the things we're supposed to do, but it's very streamlined. And so when I have 20 minutes of time, I try and go through the Enroll-a-thon list. It's like 6 or 7 tasks or whatever it is. And so when I have 20 minutes, I'm like, okay, task 1. Okay, next. When I have another 20 minutes, task 2. done. Task 3. And so I know exactly where I'm left off because it tells me exactly, okay, message 20 people this. Okay, don't respond. And I think that's the biggest thing is when I have increments of time. When I am messaging someone, I just message. I'm not responding to new distributors. I'm not checking Facebook for notifications. I'm not posting on my Instagram story. I'm not making a post. Like when I'm messaging for host to post, I am only messaging for host to post. When I'm training, messaging new distributors, I'm only messaging new distributors. And like, I'm not going left and right because I think a lot of time we feel like we're working really hard when we do that. And then we look back and we've sent 3 messages and maybe responded to 2 new distributors. So like, it's really important that you stay focused, but I basically just go from one task to the next. And my goal is, we're trying to go presidential. Okay. So my task list may be more strenuous than yours if you're trying to go Ruby. But my goal is like 5 to 6 times a day. So I go through task 1 through 7, essentially 5 to 6 times a day. So I know exactly like, okay, when Case is in the bath, I know I have about 20 minutes. Okay. So I'm going to try and do task 1, 2, and 3. So I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. Okay. Jade on that specific YouTube video literally goes through step by step with the wording. Like, so you literally just take an hour of your time and create a boards and just make your boards what the tasks are. And that's how I've been working my business. And so in those in between times, I'm present. Like if I just spent 20 minutes doing host to post, okay, I'm present for, until the kids go to bed or, like at the party. So I knew tonight, today was my child's birthday. Does that mean I take a day off? No, it does not. But does that mean that my time's going to have to look different? Yes. So what I did is this morning before, while they were napping, I went through the task list completely. And then when they took their afternoon nap, I went through the task list completely. And then before the party, I tried to go through it 2 times. It was actually like 1.5 times. So I know tonight before I go to bed, I just have to do it 2 more times. And so planning your day accordingly. But it just gives you very much direction. Okay. And you'll be surprised at how much, even as a triple diamond trying to go presidential, that sometimes we're just like randomly, aimlessly wandering around like, okay, Facebook story. Okay, no, I gotta go live. Okay, host to post. Okay, respond to these host to post. Oh wait, I made a gummy post and I've got to respond to the comments. Like it's just very streamlined, so you stay focused, and then you get a ton of work done. So I don't remember if that was a question, but that was anyway. That was the answer.
That was the perfect answer. I love that. The next question I actually had for you was how do you manage your time? But you kind of answered that with that question. But I think it's perfect because there are definitely times oh my gosh, sorry, I have a hair wedding. Gosh, I could not get it off my paper. Sorry. So there's definitely times, even like today, where Sean left. He actually, this is so not even, doesn't matter. He's going on a little like date thing with my dad. They're going to dinner. Like, what the heck? I literally wasn't even invited, but it's fine. So I was like, okay, so he left and I was like, what am I supposed to do? I was like, what do I do with my hands, because I had already done my list for the day and everything. So I literally was just sitting on the couch and I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm going to go do some host to post, and literally got like, I don't know how many host posts. I could lie, but I'm not going to. I got X amount of host to post up. And from that, like 5 of them got like over 30 comments. 30 comments, you guys. That's incredible. Like I'm boosting myself because I'm proud. And I literally signed an on the spot customer tonight. And like, I would not have signed that customer if I would not have gotten those host to post up, And I actually was talking to one of our girls the other day and she was like, I just feel so overwhelmed. I don't even know where to start. And I feel that like sometimes it happens, but I love how you said, Hannah, you just went to the board. And so for team, I'm 10 out of 10 going to watch that video after that, and then add that little board into our team's board. So everyone can have that. Cause I think that's super, super good because we know what to do. Like the tasks, they're so simple, but then just sometimes it's like, I literally don't know where to start. And so I love that you said that though, because that's definitely really, really good. And I definitely know that it helps. I'm trying to think. I guess I'm just going to go into like basic questions. I don't want to take up forever of your time, but I do just want to ask different things. So with managing your time, I'm not really going to kind of go into that, but like, how do you work your business? I hope that makes sense, but like, where are you getting your most enrollments? Like, do you do TikTok, Reels, whatever? Just kind of that like more in-depth breakdown of that. I hope that makes sense.
So I am a mass customer enroller. With that being, so I get the majority of my customers from host to post and excessive follow-ups. I am a follow-up guru. Like you'll like I am a huge believer that that's what took me from being paid as a Ruby to double is the follow-up system that I use. Because I just don't let people slip through the cracks. And like bottom line, like if someone's going to message you, it will be me and I will get your order. So I'm definitely go ham on host to post for sure. But I also talk about the products like literally every single day. And that sounds like a very simple answer, but I'm talking about on stories. I talk about every time somebody orders, API order, team order, or not team order, API order, loyal customer order. If I randomly get a retail order, I'm talking about those things. I'm constantly talking about, thank you so much for your order, Shannon. Thank you so much for your order, Kaylee. Like all the time because people have FOMO. I'm posting before and afters. I'm just doing all the things. Like all the things because I want to go presidential so bad it makes me not want to breathe. Like I want it so bad and I'm just willing to do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. That's the answer. I will do whatever it takes. If I have to message 500 people, I don't. But if I had to, I would. And that's the point that you have to get to. What do you want, sister? Like, do you want to be where you're at or do you not? And so that's kind of how I work my business. So, we just had like a gnarly stomach bug, like all five of us, like 2 5 months olds, basically a 2-year-old, me and my husband. It was terrible. And so we're like super exhausted, still about a week out. And so, a lot of times I wish that I could just go in there and go to sleep. But at the end of the day, that's not going to get me to go presidential. So I just make those sacrifices and I just do all the things. Like I made it a commitment to myself to go live 2 to 3 times a week every week, business and products. I'm posting before and after pictures. I'm doing tons of stories. I'm showing my personal results. I'm showing myself using the products. I'm doing host to post like crazy. I'm messaging for products. I'm doing it all. Because I think a lot of people, and I hope this doesn't sound like boastful, but I think a lot of people look, because I've enrolled 80 customers in 1 month. I average anywhere between 30 and 80. It's just 80 was my best. I don't really go a month without 30. So anywhere between that. And I think a lot of people look at that and be like, man, I want to enroll 30 customers, but they don't want to do the work that like I'm putting in on a day-to-day basis. They're not willing to do all the things. They're not willing to go live. They're not willing to show their face on their Instagram story. They're not willing to post a before and after. They're not willing to message someone about the gummies. Like, I just, do all the things. Like I don't I would like I said, I wish I had some magical fairy answer. And for a long time I tried to search trainings and search YouTubes and search all these leaders for the secret sauce. What is it? Like what is it? What are they doing that makes them so special? And guys, there is no secret sauce. The secret sauce is just hard work, consistency, and doing all the things all the time. That's the secret. Doing all the things all the time, no matter what, like Jade says, all the time, always, forever. Like you just do the things. When you don't want to, you do the things. When you're busy, you do the things. When your kids are in the NICU, you do the things. When you're having a great day, you do the things, like forever. And that's what I do. So are some days better than others? Yeah. Yeah. Some days I do my very best, but sometimes my very best is my 50%. But as long as I'm doing 100% of my 50%, I'm proud of that because, any moms on here will relate. Sometimes you don't have 100% to give. But if you give 100% of your 80%, that's good enough for like, as long as you feel proud about what you're doing. Because I think essentially, like people, especially if you've been in the business for a minute, like, what you're supposed to be doing. Like, you're supposed to post, you're supposed to follow up, you're supposed to interact or add people to your network. Like, you're supposed to do all of those things. So just do them. Like, don't make excuses for yourself. And, the 5-second rule really like, it's been a long time since I've read it, but it really changed it. If I don't want to do something, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just do it. Just get up 10 hosts to post. Just quit whining and moaning about it and just do it. I don't want to go live. Okay, 5:43, just go live. Just press the live button, and now you have no way out. And I find that once I start doing the things, I want to do more. So it's just getting yourself to do it. But that's how I work my business. Is just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm just gonna do it. And tonight, like, am I want to get off this Zoom and like go put all the kids in bed and bathe them and like wrangle all the wet cats from the bath and like just do it? No, I'm not gonna want to, but I'm going to. I'm going to finish getting up my hosted posts. I'm going to finish my follow-ups and I'm just going to do it. So that's kind of how I work my business. And then just, in the nooks and crannies of my day and the 10 minutes here, the 5 minutes here, I think that's something that I've really not mastered, but gotten better at. I don't spend 5,000 hours like this. I work my business in little spurts. And then I enjoy my life in the in between. And that's how you keep from burning out. That's how you keep from burning out, is when you're spending. I had a leader on my team who was spending like 87,000 hours back in her office, locked away for like all day. And she was wondering why she was feeling burnout. And I was like, sister, that's not how you're supposed to work this business. This business is not supposed to work for all this freedom. And then you're locked in your office for 21 of 24 hours a day. So, I have my bare minimum, which is, I call it my enroll fun board. It's the task board of the 6 or 7 tasks, and I just try and get through it 5 or 6 times a day. Bare minimum, like worst day ever, like I'm fixing to die, is like 1 time. But like I said, I'm trying to go pres, so that's like 5 to 6 times. So that's what I do.
No, I love that. And like something that I wrote down was just like willing to do what others won't, because like it's that right there. Like literally like on my phone, like my background, like at the very bottom, if you have an iPhone, you know what I'm talking about. I put like a word on like my background so you can see it under all the apps. And I just put like whatever it takes, because like we're trying to go presidential. I will cut off every limb of my body to go presidential, like I literally would do anything. And like it's that type of energy. And like I hope y'all know what I mean when I'm saying I cut off my limbs, but y'all feel me there. But like you will literally do whatever it takes. And I just love that you said that, because like it's that, like that's what I put in the chat too. And I was like, that literally is it. Like it's just doing the things, and the things that she does isn't anything different than we do. Like I lost my train of thought. Okay, yes. Jade Hooper's our ambassador Diamond upline, you guys, or she's one of them. We have like 5 now. So everything that she does was poured into Ashley Mirth, Courtney Bohr, Shay, and then myself. And then I'm able to pour that into you guys, What happens whenever you go presidential? I will literally jump off a building. Y'all will see me. I will be actually jumping off probably the AT&T Stadium, because I will be so excited. But if you don't know what presidential is, it's just the second rank in the company, which means we're 1 rank from the top with a parachute. Yeah, I don't want to forget that. Literally. But it's just the second rank. How would you call that? It's a VIP elite rank. So as of right now, we're a VIP team, and this goes for Hannah too. So we're a VIP team pushing for the second to the highest rank in the company, and then we'll be put on our run to ambassador. So we'll be the youngest ambassador team. Yeah, that just made me really excited. So I have like a lot more energy now. But I'm trying to think. Oh, so one thing that Hannah did mention, that I put this Zoom in the comments. Y'all, she has an incredible follow-up system. Like homegirl is not green, but she is green when it comes to making money. Okay. And this follow-up system, I'm going to go ahead and copy this link again. I'll shoot it in here. That video alone, it's just such an incredible Zoom, because she just goes so far into depth of everything that she does with follow-ups. And it's one thing that I've been implementing in my schedule as well. And this month, like I'm proud of myself. I have not enrolled no 30 customers, but I'm at 14 or 15 for the month. I legitimately have not done this since May of 2020. It is March of 2021. Okay. Like it was just the smallest little switch. And it just literally helped so much. I'm trying to think. I have another question, but I just want to open this up to everyone too. Does anyone have any questions for Hannah? Please drop them in the chat so we can get them while y'all are here. But what was I gonna burnout. That was one thing I wanted to touch on too. So I experienced the worst amount of burnout through 2019, which is funny how when you were talking, it's not funny, but coinking, when you were talking about your story and you were talking about December 2019, there are some OG leaders on my team that know how impactful December 2019 was for just me and my business, because that was the month where I was like, am I doing this? I hate this. Like, I literally, it was just terrible. And that was when I just made that decision to change. And it was exactly what Hannah was talking about. I was fighting so hard for this freedom. And I literally was glued to my phone for 24 hours every day. Like, it was not fun, you know? And once I just, kind of like reframed my mindset, I guess, around that, and just literally made a change, like I have that freedom to where like I can just go do this and go do that, and I don't feel like I need to be glued to my phone all day. Because at the same time, like, yes, I like my office, I like my desk chair, it's very cool, I like my expensive MacBook that is broken right now, literally is being a POS, but it's fine. But this is our business. It's right here. You can easily go to the dog park from a dog mom's, or just like anywhere. I don't want to say mom things because I'm not a mom and I always feel bad, but like to the doctor, I don't know, like things like that. Like, you are able to be on your phone and be present in those situations, or get your work done beforehand and put your phone completely away. Like when Sean and I eat dinner together, even if we're literally eating on the couch, my phone's in here. It's not next to me, because that is his time. And just another thing to mention too is finding out the love languages of your significant others. I think that's very, very key. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that her husband's main love language is probably quality time, because that's Sean's, and just like how she was saying that. So I know that Sean needs like my attention on him for at least 20, 30 minutes, maybe an hour. I don't know. So
Well, that's the neat thing about guys. They
literally,
don't need much.
yeah,
I
you don't need a
mean,
lot. Like, you just need to say hi, like, hey, do you want me to rub your back? And they're like, no, I'm playing Call of Duty. Like, they don't really need that much. They just want to know that you want them, I
they
think.
just want to feel like they're important. And like, I mean, jokes aside, but I mean, most guys are relatively the same. They need the same few things. And as long as you're taking care of those same few things, like it doesn't really I'm trying to think the best way to word this. Like,
You all know what Hannah is saying, okay? You
what
all
you gotta do, and
you all
then
know.
that can work, and they're good, and they're like so. I'm just being real here. I mean, that's the brutal truth. I mean, we're all here for the realness. If you have any type of significant other, like it's not hard. They don't need all of this extra time. Like they just need to feel wanted and appreciated and needed, and then they're good. So, after that, it's like, okay, I'll leave you alone for like he's will go watch this movie, and like I'll work the next 7 hours. Like it's fine. And so, but she's absolutely right. It's like, jokes aside, like find what your significant other needs. If that is quality time, if that is like going to dinner, if that is like, watching a movie, or like whatever makes them feel loved and appreciated, just like what makes you feel loved and appreciated. That's what you give to them. And because you never want something to feel like, how would you feel if they were constantly putting like, I mean, I don't know if everyone, but like, if how have y'all felt if like they've put Xbox or gaming or something in front of you when you're like, hello, I just want attention? Like, it's not a
That's
fun
a
feeling.
perfect example.
Like,
Like, I've never heard like that analogy before, but it is so true. Cause like I play video games with Sean, so us, it's a little bit different, but I've been in relationships where they chose that freaking Xbox over me. And it's the same thing. You're not, and it's not I say this with a grain of salt. Choosing your business is not a bad thing, but make sure you're giving them that time too, cause like
yeah,
just like Hannah said, like it
it's
doesn't
insane.
take much.
Yeah, like it's just like as long as you're in sync and everyone's getting like what they need, like things will be fine. Because like I think at the end of the day, I don't want to speak for everybody, but as the general whole, people don't really care. Like your husband doesn't really care if you're on your phone or you're not. It becomes a problem when they don't feel like they have everything they need from you. So as long as you take care of that aspect of like spending that quality time or whatever it is, like then you should be good. And so really figuring out what that looks like for you. And I mean, essentially that could be the same for friends, like if you're single, or, family, like as long as you're giving everybody what they need, like, attention wise, then, you spending a few hours or however you work your business, like essentially won't be a problem. So yeah, I don't remember what the question was,
No,
but
I love that. I think it's perfect.
oh, I just realized there's a guy on here. I am so sorry.
No, you're good. He's one of our newest distributors. He just joined with his wife, so he's awesome.
Okay, well, they know what I'm talking about then, so it's fine.
Y'all got it. But no, like I think your answer was honestly perfect because like, I don't know. I mean, I know what we were talking about, but I can't like think of the words. But I think that was a perfect answer because it's so true. Like it does not take much. I'm gonna laugh. I'm such a child. Y'all know what I mean, okay? Y'all got it. I think that was so funny, but I'm just trying to think. Okay, so this is just one last question I have for you. I think I've said that like 5 times. I'm sorry. But basically, I know for myself, I have been in that feeling of like, I don't want to call it a dance, but you've decided, and then you question if you've decided. I don't know if you've ever felt that, but I know I have, and I'm like, I think I decided I'm going presidential, and then I'm like, I really didn't decide. Oh my gosh. And then just like back and forth. So like, I guess what tip would you give for that person that feels like, I think I made my decision, like I think I'm running, but like, how do I really know if my decision is made? I hope that makes sense, but that was just my last question for you.
So something that's helped me is I wrote on like sticky notes all over my house, presidential, 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 because okay, so like how I told y'all I sat at Diamond for 2 years, and it was always like double was a mental block for me. Like I had been blocked in for double, I don't even know how many times. And it just never like happened because I wasn't, number one, I steamrolled my team and I didn't care. Like I don't want to say I didn't care, but I'm just so money motivated that like I just was concerned about me, 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 me. And God really had to teach me that lesson of like, it's not just about you, sis. Like it's about others too, because like I was such in a hard financial place and I wanted to get it out of like us out of it. And so it didn't come from like a negative, like a bad place in my heart. It just was like I wanted it so bad that I just wasn't concerned with others. And so that was something that kept me there. And then like once I worked so hard, because like I said, I am a mass enroller and I could never figure out how to teach someone else how to enroll. And so I remember the first time one of my team members enrolled a customer, like one customer, I was like fixing to cry because I'm like, that's one, like, because I got myself to Diamond essentially. Like I had maybe 1 or 2 distributors put in an order or two, but it wasn't anything like, I mean, I was the person who got myself to Diamond, and it was with the old charts. So it was even more than the current charts are now. Um, and so I did that not just once, not just twice, but 3 times. And then when I had went Diamond the third time and it stuck, is when I finally decided, I've learned my lesson. Because if you don't learn your lesson the first few times, God will give it to you again. And so I learned my lesson, and I really tried to take care of my team. And it didn't matter how much they were working. If they were showing up and putting in effort, I was willing to teach them. And that's where I, had a burst of just people who emerged. And because, the work, because one of a leader told me this one time is like, you have to take care of what you have before God can bless you with more. So you have to take care of the customers you have. You have to take care of the distributors you have before God's going to bless you with more. So, I definitely took that to heart. And I was like, I'm going to take care of anyone who is willing to show up. Like, I'm not talking about taking care of the people who like ignored you 5,000 times and you haven't talked to since 2017. Those are not the people I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people who are like posting or like, because I think a lot of times we look at success in this business as enrollments. If you're enrolling, you're successful. If you're enrolling, you get a spot on this chart. If you're enrolling, you get this. If you're enrolling, you get that. And that's great. Like, yeah, enrollments are a big deal. That's what what our business is based off of. But also, like, a lot of people don't know how to enroll naturally. So if you just help teach them, so if they're posting and trying to do host to post and doing the things, like, I will work with you. And so that was a major shift in my mindset. It's just taking care of what I have, whatever God has given me for whatever purpose. That's what I'm going to take care of. And so that's like what I started doing. What was the question?
Basically, I think this was it. I love with where you were going. I cannot talk, but I think it was like if you feel like you've decided, but you don't, like, you're questioning if you've decided. But I love where you were going because I've been there too. So you can continue on either one. It's fine with me.
Yeah. So, and I was relating it back to that. So, I started really focusing, like when I didn't necessarily like decide to go double. Like it was more like I was just so focused on getting Diamond back and developing team. That's what my focus was. And because I think that was a huge shift for me, because like, yeah, I am super motivated. And yes, I do want to go presidential. But like for those of you, I don't know how many of you know this, Cheyenne will know exactly what I'm talking about. But like even though you fill the chart for a presidential, you're still like 40,000 volume short. So like great, your chart's full, the promotions are done, you're $40,000 in sales short. Like you still have to get to 100K. And so, it's essentially the same with double and essentially the same with diamonds. When you get the charts done, just like when you get your ruby chart done, you still have to be at 2K. And with all the boxes done, you're at like 1,200. So you have an extra 800 volume you need to fill. So I really started focusing on just helping team members build. I really started focusing on team members. Like I'm going to help these people on these sides of my charts. And I just decided to do that. Like, if that makes sense, I just decided to help my team. And I kind of like, not made it about me, because yes, I wanted to go double, but like really made it about my girls going ruby and my girls going emerald and my girls going diamond. And that's the same mindset I'm taking into presidential, because like I broke it down. Like if everyone on the chart promotes to president, like the presidential minimum ranks, I need 4 new diamonds. That's 40,000 volumes. So 4 diamonds at 10,000. So I started really focusing on like helping people go diamond. That was my focus. And that was what I decided. And from there, essentially it was the same thing with triple is, I decided to go triple. Yeah. But like the process prior to triple was really just focusing on like, how can I take care of my team? How can I love on my team? How can I be better for my team? How can I be a better leader? How can I, teach them to do enrollments? How can I be better at one-on-ones? How can I be better at Zooms? How can I be better, leading by example and doing all of the things? And so that's really what I started focusing on. And then, guys, like in January, like when we went triple, I wasn't really thinking this is the month we're going to go triple. Like I knew it was close, but I wasn't 100% sure, because like we were coming off of December and we were coming off of this, and then we had a major gas leak in our home and had to evacuate, and like the fire department was called, and like we had to go to the ER and get the boys checked for monoxide poisoning. If you don't have a carbon monoxide detector, you need to get one. But like random things like that were happening, and so I really wasn't thinking this is the month we were going triple. But because I had coached my team to always look at the next like rank or the next goal or 2 steps ahead of where you're at, triple, like I don't want to say happened organically, because like we did still have to like work, so like we had to work really hard, but like I just made it like about my girls going diamonds, about my girls going this, and like just a personal goal. Like my goal was to have 7 diamonds this year and I already have 5. So like really teaching people to work their business. And that sounds really silly. That's how I decided. I'm going to teach others how to work their business. And if you're not to that point yet in your business, do the things. Do the things. Message for distributors if you need to. Message for customers if you need to. Do tons of host to post if you need to. Go live on Facebook if you need to. Do all the things, and your people will come. Your people will follow. But be your own runner. Be your own hardest worker until someone else comes to be the leadership role, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I love that question. And like I said, not that I was expecting a different answer, but that wasn't the answer I was expecting. And I think that was a better answer than what I was looking for, I guess, if that makes sense too. Because just with different things, like I wrote down some things that I wanted to touch on from what she said, but just like learning your lessons in the valleys. Like I'm just like being 100% straight up. It sucks not reaching a goal, or like when you're pushing so hard and then you miss it, or like when you just hit a rank and then you don't maintain it the next month, or just X, Y, and Z, like insert problem here. Like it sucks, but one thing that I have learned just throughout that is there is always a lesson to come out of it. So Yes, I love that, Kate. That was so, so good. But one thing that I learned was whenever because our team went triple diamond March of 2019, and I was like, oh my gosh, in 2 months we'll be presidential, and like 3 months after that we're going to be ambassador, and then I ended that year barely maintaining diamond. And I don't say that to scare any of you guys, and I do know that a lot of y'all know that about my story, but through that, like that was a hard season, and I didn't look at it as looking for a lesson in it. I looked at it as like, oh my gosh, my world just got turned upside down, And now, through 2020, I mean, we had an incredible year. Like, do not get me wrong, but things started to slip, and I was like, okay, what can I learn? And it was like just a mindset shift of like, it's like nothing is necessarily going wrong, but this is happening. And this is what I told myself. I don't know if this is like good or bad, but I was like, okay, so I need to learn something here. And I just kind of took it like that. And I've just learned so much in this business, like in the 3.5 years, yes, but just especially within the last like 2 years, the last year, the last 6 months, like I've just learned so much. And I also love what you said about just like taking care of what you have so God can bless you with more, because that was one thing that I really, really had to press into myself just personally. I usually enroll between like 10 and 15 distributors a month. Do they all work? No. Does that make me sad? Yes, but like it's okay, But with that, work with the ones that are working, And just once I started taking that more seriously, of just like, okay, Jackie, I'm going to use you as an example, just because your name's on my screen first. Jackie joins, and I'm like, Jackie is going ambassador diamond. And I literally will scream that to every single notification that comes in on my phone that someone enrolls. I'm like, this girl is going ambassador. So in my head, they're ambassador. We just got to make eSuite pop up that way, And like, I'm just taking care of these people. And I'm just going to shout out like a couple of my new girls real quick, and I don't say that in like a bad way, but I say that because once I started, like I got a new distributor in the system and I took care of them. These girls are here. They're working, they're enrolling, they're growing their teams, like they're getting their shopping sprees, Like even as a triple diamond, I've had people miss their shopping spree or have gone months without getting a fast start bonus. Does it hurt my heart? Yes, I'm money motivated. I love $150 fast start bonuses. Okay. But in that was something that I had to flip back and say, like, what am I not doing? Because it's not them. They don't know what the heck to do. They're new distributors, So like, what can I change to make it easier for them? And I just love that you said that, because I've never like kind of connected it that way, but it's completely true. And then just like one last thing for everything that she was saying, I know a lot of us, or a lot of you guys, are new distributors on here, and I don't want you to think that these are just like conversations like from a leader to another leader. If you are on this team Zoom, you are a leader. If you have a customer or a distributor underneath you, you are still a leader. And these are things that you're either going to learn along the way, and I like very much hope you do, and there's a lot of things that I hope like we can teach you without you having to go through also. But it's just kind of learning how to like adapt and pivot wherever you need to. And I think that's just the most important thing. But and this has been an hour long. Wow. It's fine. So I literally just have one last thing, just any tip. And this is actually going to be the last question, but just any last tip that you have for us, just whatever you feel called to share.
I could talk forever. Mainly just, I mean, just do the things. And I've said that so many times, but like, guys, that was the difference between me being paid as in Ruby and me going triple, is me doing the things and teaching my team to do the things. This business is not hard. And exactly what Cheyenne said, I made a post about this the other day. You have to do what others won't so you can have the life that others can't. And there's a reason that Diamond is the top 2% of the company. So out of 100 people, only two people go Diamond. 2 out of 100. That's not great odds. Like, and that's not because Diamond is out of reach hard, guys. Like Diamond, and I don't want to diminish diamonds. And if you're struggling to get diamond, I don't want you like to diminish that, because it takes work. But diamond is not, in the big scheme of things, hard. People just won't. People just won't. Getting, like, if you've gotten your shopping spree, was it like overly obsessively hard? No. But will everyone get their shopping spree? No, because not everyone's willing to do the work that it takes to get their shopping spree. It's the same thing with going diamond. It's the same thing with going double. It's the same thing as going triple. It's the same mountain, whether you're getting your shopping spree or you're trying to go ambassador diamond. It's the same activities that get you from one place to the next. It's just the mountain is a little bit taller. And I tell myself that because I remember the days I used to like, I literally could not even fathom going double because I had been at diamond for so long. And I was like, oh my God, like, how is this going to ever happen? And I finally realized that when I finally went double, it's the same mountain. It's the same mountain I've already climbed. It's just a little bit taller. And so I went in with a very renewed mindset of going triple. It's the same mountain. It's just a little bit taller. It's the same mountain. It's just a little bit taller. So if you've gotten one customer, if you can sign one, you can sign 100. You literally can sign 100 customers if you can sign one. So as long as you're willing to put in the work, and guys, like I said, the work is not hard. It's not hard work. It is not hard work to message 20 people an hour. I would much rather do that than smell like ranch and have steak juice all over me and waiting tables. Like at the end of like, or, my degree is in the hospital. Like freaking hospital shifts are rough, dude. Like, and especially with COVID, I cannot even imagine. Like if there's anyone in healthcare on here, bless your soul. Because like I worked in the hospital for like 2 years and guys, it was flipping terrible. Like, and if you love your job, that's great. But compared to that, this business is not hard. I've seen like I had to do god awful things working in the hospital. So this messaging 20 people to make more than double what I was making would have been making in the hospital is not hard. And I'm at home in my pajamas eating Reese's Pieces watching our TV show. That's not hard. So just do the things. Just do the things and do a lot of the things and teach other people to do the things. Like I said, essentially the business is you post, you message, you follow up, you add to your network, and you do like host to post and you interact. Like it's not hard. So just set your timer. I'm going to message for 10 minutes. Great. Do that. Go do your thing. Okay. Now I'm going to post. I have 10 minutes or 5 minutes to post. Okay. I'm going to post. It's just, yes, exactly like she said in the chat. It's action. It's moving your feet when other people's feet are planted in the mud. And that's like exactly because 95% of Americans live broke and unhappy. There's a reason that millionaires are like 0.001 or whatever percent it is because not everyone will do the work. It's not that they can't. Everybody can run a marathon, but they won't. Everybody can work out, but they won't. Everybody can eat healthy, but they won't. There's literally healthy food in the grocery stores. And what do people buy? Candy. Not everyone will like eat healthy. Not everyone will work out. Not everyone will do the things. With that being said, when you do the work, it's like going to the gym. You can't do a sit up one time and be like, where is my abs though? Like it takes consistent work over and over and over and over without seeing your abs, without seeing that six pack. It's doing all of those sit ups and eating healthy and doing all of the things, even if you don't see results. But then one day you'll be ripped and you'll have the six pack. It's the same thing with this business. You're going to do all the things. And sometimes you maybe feel like, oh my gosh, it's like water boiling. What does water boil at? 212? So from 0 to 211 degrees, nothing happens. The difference between boiling and not is 1 degree. So you do all that work and you may be at 211 degrees and you're like right before your breakthrough. That was me with double. Like I'm right there. If I can just go double, if I can just do the things, I can be like unstoppable. That was my 211 degrees. And when I finally went double, that was like my boiling point. All that work that I had done was 200, but that one thing that set me over the edge, all of that work finally was evident, finally was rolling, finally was going. And then that's why we went triple. I mean, people have gone triple faster, but like what, 5, 6 months later, And so that, doing that work, even when you don't feel like you're boiling, even when you're like, this should be boiling by now, you may be at 210 degrees, sister. So don't stop because you've wasted 210 degrees. You just need 2 more. And it's like, I'm a big metaphor person or whatever it's called, but it's like that diamond mine meme. Have you ever seen it where they're like hacking away in the dirt and like the diamonds are like this far away and the man's right here and he stops and turns around, but he was this close to the diamond. So don't let all the work that you do go to waste. Keep going because like that breakthrough that's fixing to happen, Like, and that's what I found. Like, one more metaphor. So I had an unmedicated childbirth with my first. It was, God bless. I loved it, but I would not do it again. I did not do it again. But they told me the point where you feel like you absolutely cannot do it anymore is the time that you're good. When you absolutely cannot do it anymore. And I remember saying that I want to die. I cannot do it anymore. And I was good until I got to that point. But then he was here like 25 minutes later. So when you feel like you can't go anymore, when you feel like you're not good enough, when you feel like, I just want to die, I'm like, that's dramatic, but like, I just cannot do this anymore. That's when that success is like right there, because that's the boundary other people won't cross. Other people will be like, nope, I'm done, dude. Peace. That's too hard. So if you can push past that little bit of uncomfortableness, that's how you get those $5,000 double checks, $6,000 double checks. Income disclosure there. I'm not supposed to say that. But anyway, that's how you get those above average triple checks. That's how you get those $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $10,000, $12,000 checks, is you do that little bit of extra work that feels hard in the moment, but you look back and you're like, dude, that was so much easier than I thought. And now I can do so much more. And so that is the advice that I leave you with, is you just have to do the things that others won't, because they won't. And that's the bottom line. If you can just do that, then you will be successful. You will go ambassador. You will go ruby. You will go diamond. You will go insert your goal. That's all you have to do. So when you feel like you're not enrolling those customers like you should, if you feel like you're not enrolling as much distributors, if you feel like you're not getting interaction on those posts, that's what makes other people quit. So you have to be the one to continuing to go forward through that, because the breakthrough is coming. The breakthrough is coming. You just have to get there. And so that's what I'm going to leave y'all with.
That was incredible, and I think I'm gonna start crying. So don't know about you guys. I'm so glad that this lighting is not the best, because my face is very red right now and I literally am sweating. Like, that was just such a good answer. Like, or answer point, I don't know, you know what I mean. That was literally so good. And like, just push to the boiling point. Like, that was just so good. I just love that so much. Okay, so I am going